Hi, I'm Nan Simonson. I'm a certified health and wellness and culinary coach. And I work with a lifestyle medical practice, have been for 5 years. Um, in lifestyle medicine, the difference between that and allopathic medical care is that we are looking for prevention and remediation of illness using our body, natural remedies um, from lifestyle modifications or just lifestyle. And without using pills and procedures first and foremost. Think about it. You go to most doctors and you have a thing, and they pull out a prescription pad or they order a procedure, and you've got 10 minutes and you do that. And quite often they'll say, oh, you'll do that the rest of your life. We don't do that in lifestyle as medicine. And in these 5 years, I've seen remarkable turnarounds of health relatively and quite often very quickly, off pills, off procedures, and going years and years and years on with vibrant health. So we talk about natural remedies, and they include proper diet. I'm reading my notes so I don't forget anything, which in the case of lifestyle medicine, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is a whole food, plant-based diet. Some people can be plant forward. Some people are I'm plant exclusive. You'd call it vegan, but vegan doesn't mean whole food. So I stick with whole food, plant exclusive. And some people just add more fruits and vegetables. Whatever a person can do is going to improve their health over the standard American diet. Those natural remedies include exercise, pure air, sunlight, abstinence from risky substances that interfere with good health. And we'll talk about that later. Getting plenty of water and getting plenty of rest. So today I ask the question, why and how should we prioritize sleep? And I'll ask you, or rest or sleep, and I'll ask you, are you prioritizing sleep? That word becomes really important because when we prioritize a thing, we do that thing on a regular basis, and we do that thing methodically, and we do it on purpose, but we also do it I'll say not begrudgingly. In other words, we accept that that is a part of our life, and we prioritize sleep for health with lifestyle medicine. Many busy people feel accomplished and maybe even proud by being able to put off sleep, or even beyond not prioritizing it, avoiding it as much as possible, feeling that they are kind of warriors by getting as much as they can out of their day, by getting maybe only 6 hours of sleep a day, by staying energized and awake by using caffeine or other stimulants to keep them awake, figuring they're just getting more out of their life than those who sleep regularly, and quite often by doing that, getting a poor quality of sleep and wakefulness throughout the night. Science shows, and so why should we bother prioritizing sleep? What's the point of that? Well, science shows that quality and quantity of sleep can affect things including your weight, your risk of disease, your skin, your mental and emotional well-being, as well as many other parts of your health, including the working of your brain. What happens during sleep? And this is something that, if you can imagine it, you may see why you want to make sure that your sleep is long enough, sound enough, that you can take advantage of these stages. So what is recommended? Recommended by, I'll say, neurologists, those who work on your brain, medical people who are looking at the workings of our body for health. But the brain is one of the most important parts of our system as it relates to sleep. And let's face it, without the brain, our body doesn't matter to us, because We don't know who we are, and people have that challenge as well, sometimes because they have a lifetime of a lack of sleep. So what is recommended? At least 6.5 hours, but most people won't even let that out of their mouth. They'll say 7 to 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night. By prioritizing it, and I'll give you an outline at the end of what helps us build a habit of sleep and the sleep components that make it happen. So what happens during sleep? In short, during sleep, our bodies repair, rejuvenate, and grow. Our brains process information from the day before and either store it, categorize it, or dispose of what isn't needed, even at a cellular level. There are 5 stages of sleep, and we cycle through these throughout the night. I didn't know that. At one time, I thought you got to sleep, and then you would have your REM sleep, which was a priority for your brain, and that would come sometime, and you don't want to miss it, and then you go on to the other stages. That's not so. You cycle through usually 4 or 5 of these cycles, and I'll say something more about that in a minute too. These cycle, as I said, throughout the night, starting with stage 1. Stage 1 is the lightest stage of sleep, a stage between being awake and falling asleep. So we're still aware of what's going on around us, and we're in sort of that middle zone. Stage 2 is the onset of sleep. We start to become disengaged from our body and from our surroundings. Our temperature drops, which is one of the reasons we want to encourage that by being in a cool room rather than a hot room. It actually not only helps us fall asleep to be in a cool room, although we may be warm enough with our covers on us, but also to encourage not only that body temperature drop, but also to encourage comfort as the night goes on. Stages 3 and 4 are the deepest and the most restorative sleep. Many processes take place in our body, and they include our change in our breath rate, our blood pressure, muscle tension, blood flow to the muscles, and tissue growth and repair, including our release of hormones throughout the night that help balance our system. We need that stage, those 3 and 4 stages, in other words, for overall health. And then stage 5 is where we get into REM sleep, rapid eye movement, REM, rapid eye movement. During stage 5, meaning during REM sleep, the brain is especially active. Dreams occur during REM sleep, and the body becomes immobile and relaxed. People dream, and we are relaxed and immobile so that we don't act out those dreams, which could be dangerous. Typically, it occurs about 70 to 90 minutes after we actually fall asleep, and may cycle 4 or 5 times during the night. We cycle through the first 2 stages and REM, especially most closely as we get to the end of the night and closer into the morning. So those cycle again rather quickly. There's a chart that I thought was rather helpful. You're not going to be able to see this well, but that dark line is REM. It gets closer into the night, and it shows these initial stages, the stages 1, stages 2, and then we have 3s and 4s and REM sleep in there. So why would we talk about this? Because I was with somebody recently who had a number of health challenges, and what the doctors found was that she was otherwise doing everything that she could and should do to maintain her health. She was exercising, getting morning light. She was de-stressing with meditation, but she was barely sleeping. She had too many projects. She would work into the night. She would wake up early. She took care of the children, so she had to be up with them. She wasn't getting enough sleep, and everything was breaking down, and she was becoming ill because of it. When she prioritized her sleep, it turned everything around. So I ask you, look at your own habits and your own methods of getting through your day, and ask yourself, am I prioritizing my sleep? And if you wanted to make that priority and wondered what you can do to get a good night's sleep, here are some suggestions. First of all, start your day with natural light in your eye. Any bright light will help to set your circadian rhythm, your circadian clock, which governs everything, every living organism, including the human body. But the best way to do it is with natural light. Get in the natural light. Don't look at the sun, but get in natural light, even in a cloudy area, even far up north and northern latitudes. There are still protons in the air from the light that make, or from the sun, that make a difference. Do that, and you set your pineal gland to release melatonin 12 to 14 hours later, and that helps you build your melatonin to set you up to want to go to sleep. So that's a good, I'll say, a precursor of getting tired much later in the day. Exercise during daytime. Daily exercise, and again, I'm reading my notes, daily exercise often helps people sleep through, although rigorous exercise right before bedtime can interfere with falling asleep. Number 2, keep your bedroom dark and at an even temperature, preferably several degrees below body temperature. Well, you'd want it way below body temperature, but your body temperature will fall at night, and so you want a cool room usually in the 60s. Some will accept 67, 65, some want it even cooler than that, and then a blanket on you to keep you from getting chilled. Number 3, put away and turn off laptops, computer screens, tablets, cell phones, and any other electronic device when preparing for bedtime, partially because of the blue light they emit, but partially, or emit, and partially because they are excitatory quite often in getting your brains into a different realm, and that is into planning, preparing, solving of problems, etc. Light read is fine. The music is fine. Solving problems, again, sets you up for too much activity, brain activity. Number 4, stick to a regular bedtime and wake time every day, even on weekends. Your body loves predictability. The circadian clock loves predictability, not only in waking and sleeping, but also in meal times. It actually makes a difference. And that may not be possible all the time. I just came back from 5 days in New Mexico, went to Albuquerque to meet a brand new grandson who was 2 weeks old when we got there. And it changed some things, but we purposely prioritize getting enough sleep and trying to stay in our rhythms of meals as well as waking and sleeping, even though they were off a little bit. 6, avoid late night meals and snacks. Your body will have to continue to digest into the night, making it more difficult for you to get good quality sleep. A lot of doctors will say, don't eat 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. I like to make it 3 hours as often as possible. And that's one of the things that ties in with time restricted eating. I'll give you my own personal time frame. Our goal is to finish eating a meal, our dinner, by 6:30. It's not always perfect. It could be 6, it could be 7, but usually it's about 6:30 when we finish the meal. I personally don't eat again until 8:30 or 9 the next morning. That's a 14-hour window of time, but it's an easy one. I exercise in the morning and then I have breakfast. Don't eat after a meal. That's easy. When you get in the habit of that, it can save you a lot of let's say, thought about food, or determination to follow old habits, like, oh, well, if I'm sitting in front of a TV, I better eat ice cream, or gee, it's snack time in the evening. You don't even think about that when you start, I'll say, focusing on time restricted feeding and the benefits of that. You can look that up. I could do a whole thing on that, and I think I have. Number 7, don't lie in bed awake more than 20 minutes. In other words, if you just can't sleep, if you can't fall asleep, if you can't stay asleep, get out of bed, do something else until you feel tired. Now, I read this, I saw this, and I've seen it several times. I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want light in my eye. But let me tell you about light. When you are, we call it sleep hygiene, these things I'm going over. And I've read this again and again through neurobiologists, even, that you want to keep your nighttime lights low. You want them low in the room because of the way they refract in our eye, and you want them to be low lights, your 25 watt, maybe 40 watt bulbs. A lot of us have LEDs, get the really low ones, because light, bright light, high ceiling, bright light that people sometimes leave on until they're ready to go to sleep. You may be so tired you'll fall asleep, but quite often you still have excited your system and it's hard to stay asleep. But bright light is really discouraged in the nighttime. So sleep prep, getting yourself ready for bed, is to do lower activity things, lower light, cooling your room, having a dark room. Eye shades are helpful if light comes in to the room early in the morning and you're trying to finish a 8-hour window of sleep. A lot of your REM sleep, you saw, is kind of squeezed into that last bit of nighttime. And if you miss that and you miss your dream sleep, your REM sleep, your brain isn't processing information as well as it would otherwise. So do something else, but do it in low light, something that's not excitatory. The stress of not being able to fall asleep can actually contribute to insomnia. And then 8, have a relaxing routine before bed, whether it's taking a warm bath, reading, meditating, journaling, praying. Having a routine of restful activities can condition your body to fall asleep. We know that with babies, but quite often we don't practice that ourselves. So I'll say again, are you prioritizing sleep? I hope what you've heard here is helpful. It's sort of the tip of an iceberg. It's a big subject. I've heard people speak on it for hours and hours and what really occurs during sleep. But this, I think, is enough to get you thinking about it and to hopefully prioritize your sleep. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you again on our PowerPoints of interest as they relate to lifestyle medicine, and hope to see you again. We do it every Tuesday. You can join our group, because as soon as I end this recorded portion, we have people who have come together for this Zoom, and we'll have a conversation about it. You can you can email me at Aging Powerfully with Nan. Remember, my book is Aging Powerfully, and this is all about lifestyle as medicine. After I talk about where I came from, that gave me the passion to learn these things. So Aging Powerfully with Nan at gmail.com. And I'll send you the link for our Zoom. Have a great day. I know I'm going to. Bye-bye. Oh, just a moment. I'm going to stop my recording. There we go.